It might not sound like it from the names, but right where Naked Creek enters Drowning Creek, above Wagram, that's where one of Eastern Carolina's loveliest rivers is formed, the Lumber River. In its upper reaches, this is its aspect, a thin, dark stream, one of short stretches and sharp, slaloming turns, bends known locally as cow faces, the river varying from 20 to 40 feet in width and almost always canopied by cypress, gum, maple, and occasional pine. In recent decades, the Lumber, particularly the upper river with its blackwater lowland look and its hill country rapidity, has charmed many thousands of canoe and kayak paddlers. Over a century ago, the Riverton poet John Charles McNeill, our unofficial poet laureate and a favorite of President Theodore Roosevelt's, called the Lumber River a sweetheart stream. This was his home, and he absolutely adored the river that ran through his boyhood and helped raise him. In 1907, the year he died young at the age of 33, he wrote these parting thoughts about the Lumber River. She is a tortuous, delicious flirt, but she does not deserve the punishment put upon her by geographers, who have perverted her sweet Indian name of Lumbee into something that suggests choking sawdust, rotting slabs, and the shrill scream of the circular saw. The upside-down goblet on the Bible sits atop Temperance Hall near the McNeill home, a brick hexagon built in 1860 and now on the National Register of Historic Places. The Richmond Temperance and Literary Society met here regularly for 40 years, and it later served as part of the Spring Hill Academy. Sherman's force shot the place up in 1865, but it's still here, and the society still meets at least once a year. Maxton, a little railroad town, sits between the Lumber River and its tributary, Shoeheel Creek. In fact, the community was named Shoeheel on 2 different occasions, but there were so many settlers of Scottish descent in this part of the Lumber River Valley, so many folks whose names began with MC or MAC, that the place became known as Maxtown, until the post office resolved the name as Maxton with an X in the middle. Here at the corner of McGaskill and Patterson Streets, Maxton boasts its own genuine clock-towered flatiron. Pembroke is the home, the cultural and historical center of the Lumbee. At 55,000 in population, our state's largest tribe of Native Americans. And it is home, too, to a branch of the University of North Carolina. At the Native American Resource Center, we pay homage to the heritage of the Lumbee, and the life and legend of one in particular never fails to capture folks' interest and imagination, Henry Berry Lowry. In the Civil War, Lumbees were being conscripted by the Confederacy and put to work building the sand ramparts of Fort Fisher on our coast, but young Lowry resisted and is said to have witnessed from hiding the murders at the hands of the Confederate Home Guard of both his father and his brother. He swore he would avenge their deaths, and hiding out in the swamps, he and his gang robbed and raided during the Civil War, skirmishing with the Confederate Army and the Home Guard as Sherman advanced through Robeson in the spring of 1865. Lowry kept on fighting during Reconstruction, and he was well and widely known as the Lumbee Robin Hood. Colonel Thomas Robeson, hero of the Revolutionary War Battle of Elizabethtown, is said to have opposed the creation of a new county to be pulled out of Bladen until the suggestion came to name it for him, and the idea then found favor in his heart. Robeson County's seat is Lumberton on the Lumber River, through and from which resin, pitch, tar, and turpentine have been shipped. Proposals in 1798 and again in 1815 to connect the Lumber and nearby Cape Fear rivers by canal both failed. In the late 1800s, the timber and turpentine town of Lumberton was still sending 100-foot log rafts downriver to Georgetown, South Carolina, where their 3-man crews would collect $200 for the timber and the 2 weeks poling, and then walk on home. On the west side of the river, just outside of town, was a campground for wagons carrying produce, tobacco, and whiskey, a spot called Mud Market. Old-time Lumberton had a reputation for being a wide-open turpentine town, but you might not know it from looking over the modern city that emerged after the Great Fire of 1897 burned Lumberton down. An early 19th century structure that survived that conflagration is the small brick Proctor Law Office. Dating to about 1820, it's the oldest building in this old town. I've got a front row balcony seat at the Carolina Civic Center Historic Theater, which first opened in 1928, featuring silent movies, vaudeville acts, and yodeling cowboys. After a major preservation and renovation effort, it reopened in 2008, another Lumber River landmark on the National Register. It's currently presenting 100 events a year and on the rise. Now playing, John Wayne in Red River. The fine arts and literary arts are alive and well here, and Lumberton is much appreciated these days as the home of one of North Carolina's and the South's best-loved authors, Jill McCorkle.
I have always loved Meadowbrook Cemetery, it's beautiful, quiet, and I would come here to ride my bike. We would always come visit Claire Townsend. The local tale is that Claire Townsend, who died way too young, when this statue was erected, we always heard that she had ruby eyes in the statue and that someone stole them, and that Claire is always watching and hoping to see the person who stole her ruby eyes. And so kids would, dare each other to run up and touch her and run away. And I always just loved her. Somebody dared me one time to kiss her, and I did, and it didn't bother me a bit.
We're in downtown Princess Anne, North Carolina, established in 1796, back when the whole Lumber River was still called Drowning Creek. All that's left of Princess Anne is her name on a road, and yet that's just the beginning, not the ending of the tale. For the road leads to one of our state's truly great natural treasures. We're at Griffin's Whirl, a hypnotic reverse flow feature on the river near Orem. Our state has one and only one Blackwater stream with the federal government's Wild and Scenic River designation, and this is it. 81 miles of the lumber hold that honor. In 1989, the state of North Carolina declared the lumber a state natural and scenic river and made a goodly portion of McNeil's tortuous, delicious flirt into the Lumber River State Park. A number of primitive campsites await campers at the park's two key facilities, at Chalkbanks near Wagram, and at the headquarters here at Princess Anne, about 15 miles downstream of Lumberton. More overnight ports for canoeists and kayakers are along remote stretches of the stream, and their names of traders and landings from bygone days read like a roll call of the river's history. The Powell House, this small coastal cottage, was built here as the Wootton Trading Post, hard by the Lumber River, back in 1802, predating the laying out of the town of Fair Bluff by 4 years. This lovely little crossroads town, with its mile-long river walk, is the last civilization along the Lumber River in North Carolina. Below Fair Bluff, it's only a short way through wilderness river swamp jungle, and then nothing but South Carolina, where the lumber flows into the Little PD. Yet the wondrous Lumber River is ours for 115 miles, and one of the very best reasons to get out and afloat in our state is the dark, alluring water of this sweetheart stream.